SiriusXM is where moments happen, and you'll find them here 24/7. In music, talk, sports, comedy, and news. Live and on demand. And they're on in your car, online, or on the app so you won't miss a thing. Visit SiriusXM.ca/never-miss-a-beat. Hey guys, what's going on? Ben Boo here. Thanks for logging in for this lunch hour edition, of course, CMA Connected, where we bring you Canadian dealers, manufacturers, brands, and distributors and showcase them for the next half hour to 45 minutes. Guys, hope you enjoyed that audio file CMA Live that we just did a couple days ago. For me, it was a mind-blowing experience having the type of talent that we did have on, and really inspiring to see them come together with that clear message about, getting into high end. And on that note, we're not going to waste any time today because we got so much to cover. Coming off of that audio file episode, thought it would be a great idea to continue that theme, because today we're talking about one thing. We're going to be focused on one brand and one brand alone, and that is Focal Audio, distributed in Canada, of course, by BB Distribution. I'm going to bring back the man with the plan, product manager and trainer nationally for BB Distribution, Mr. Justin Bond. Come on up.
Hey, Ben. Hey, how you doing?
Man, Justin, do you agree with me? That was an epic podcast the other night.
It was a lot of fun. It was a little intimidating for me, but it was really cool to have those kind of minds in one place.
Well, I'll tell you what, straight up, bro, you held your own. I mean,
Thank
you really did hold your own, for sure. All right, enough with the jibber jabber. People are all on lunch. We want to dive right in. We want to get Man, focus. Yeah. I'm just full of puns today. Focus.
Focus
on Focal. Okay, so real quick, I guess let's just start from the top. I want to run through the little bit of the beginning quickly because we have so much to cover over the next few minutes. But for those who don't know, and I'm hard-pressed to believe that if you're in the car audio game and you're taking the time to watch this podcast, that you don't know who Focal is. But if I gave you 1 minute to tell me about Focal, who is Focal as a company?
All right. So Focal is based out of Saint-Étienne, France. Okay. It started in 1979 by a gentleman named Jacques Mahal. From then they started just essentially, that's him right there. He started manufacturing loudspeakers. And then in, 83 and 86, they introduced a lot of their technologies that we still kind of use today into the bookshelf style speaker. And then from there, just kind of grew as a progression. So Focal currently right now, still located in the same city in France. They have a beautiful building. They employ just over about 230 people, and 60 people, in that are kind of catered to research and design. And then everything from manufacturing to the manufactured in France speakers down to the quality control, all done in-house from the Main of France product, right? So there you can see there, that's the new Utopia WXP drivers, all being quality tested and checked for stuff like that. So the nice thing about having a product produced in France is it does allow them a start to finish, from design and development to production to quality control, a full package, kind of everything from A to Z on that.
So here's what I'm hearing. Being somewhat of an audio buff myself, I think you've heard me talk about, my past and home audio and whatnot. Totally. There is something, I have to admit, there is something about, a European-made speaker that I do like. You may disagree with me, but for me personally, there's something about that. I myself have European brand speakers in my house. Yeah. But not only that, there's a certain amount of design to it as well that I think adds to the whole brand and the culture of what Focal is, and with such a rich history of developing and manufacturing, that automatically for me sets you at a certain level.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's it's an expert in the field type of thing, right?
100%. And if you guys, we're not going to go over it on this podcast, but take the time, YouTube it, check it out. Check out Focal's corporate videos, especially when they're making their home stuff, the design that goes into it. Just gorgeous. And what I love is they take car audio real serious, which is unlike any other high-end, speaker company that I've seen from home.
For sure.
Do. So
Well, and it's cool. They share a lot of the technologies between the high-end home and the high-end car, right? So it kind of goes back and forth, which is really nice.
All right, so we get they've been around a long time, tons of innovation, known for its design, made in France, the higher end stuff. I guess what we want to know is, what is the DNA of Focal? Technology.
Totally.
How has that translated into cardio? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So when you think of of Focal, you can think of it, not just a speaker company, but as a technology company, because everything that Focal chooses to do, especially when it comes to their speakers, they do for a reason. It's not just because this one has a yellow color, this one is, a natural grain, or this one looks like carbon fiber. It's all based on innovation and research. And going back, we still use products called our polyglass cone, which is what kind of looks like this. Essentially it's a black cone covered, a cellulose pulp cone covered in glass microbeads, that was first pioneered in literally the first JM Lab DB13 speaker, right? And we're continuously improving on the technology that we use. Utopia M for us, that came out last year, is in the car audio world, is the culmination of everything that we've done. And one thing that's so amazing about Focal as a company is that it always doesn't start with this. It's not, let's work on the flagship product first, and then, we'll bring what we can. It's, in 2013, they invented, a patented flax cone. So made out of the same, when I say flax, I mean, France is the leading producer of flax in Europe. And I'm talking about the same stuff you would eat for cereal. It is exactly. So it's an organic material. It's sandwiched between two layers of fiberglass to give it the rigidity that it needs, but it still keeps it light. And Focal bases all of their innovation essentially on the cone of the speakers and the properties that it needs to use. For Focal to choose cone material to apply to a speaker, it kind of has to fall under 3 criteria, right? So it needs to be rigid, it needs to be very strong, it needs to be able to push that air without beginning to twist and distort. It needs to be light, because the faster that cone can move, the more bandwidth the speaker can play, the more accurate it's going to play. And the last thing is, all our cones have to be well damped. So the ability to transmit the most accurate reproduction without any adding, I like to say, any kind of colorization based on the materials of the cone. So every speaker in the line does have a unique property to it, and is chosen for a reason. So that's why I say it's easy to think of Focal more as a technology company than just a loudspeaker company.
First of all, I had to put that up because Chris Labonte is a hoot, and I don't know anybody else that would go public and say I love flax with 3 hearts behind it. So thank you, Chris. It's so interesting that Focal takes the time to innovate when it comes to materials. A lot of times you hear about the structure of a driver, or the design of the voice coil, or all that type of stuff, but to actually invest time in R&D into discovering or really pioneering different types of material. Now, I guess what my question is, you mentioned at the top of the segment here that you have your high-end Utopia, but you have a whole bunch of range that comes all the way down at, from different price points. I guess the takeaway here is, depending on which range, is going to be different materials for the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's a reason that Utopia M costs what it costs, and there's a reason that our entry level costs what it costs, and it's done in manufacturing, it's done in things. But like I said, when Focal innovates, they don't start from the top and leave the rest out, right? They, like I said, in 2016, they did a complete redesign of the K2P system, okay? And that was the first time. I mean, Focal's been using inverted dome tweeters since day one, but that was the first time that we launched the M shape, or the M profile inverted dome, all right? And the response was so good with it, and the benefits were so positive that is what forced into the redesign of the new Utopia. So into the new premium, Utopia BE came out in 2005 and stayed, cream of the crop top till 2018-19 only needed to be bettered by itself by Focal. But it didn't start with, okay, we need to start with New Utopia. It's, okay, we came out with Flax in 2013. This is great. This is working. Let's take a look at our next line, one of the most iconic lines, the yellow K2 power cone. Let's innovate. Let's redo. Let's improve that one. And then all the Focal DNA, and this is one of the most important thing, is regardless of what the cone material is made of or which tweeter is used, every part of this speaker is designed by Focal, right? So you have Focal DNA from the cream of the crop, you know, $10,000 speakers, all the way down to your, you know, $159 retail speaker.
Now, we're talking about materials. You talked about the cone. What about tweeter materials? How does that vary within the range?
So each set of speakers actually has different tweeter materials as well. Flax use what's an aluminum magnesium tweeter, and that all comes in to the same type of cone technologies that we're looking for, right? We use magnesium because it's extremely well damped cone, and we use aluminum because it's extremely strong and light, right? So that's the whole kind of you know, ideology that goes through all the speakers too. Kevlar, or the WXP or the beryllium tweeter. I mean, that we've been using beryllium since 2002 in the home speaker. It came in 2005, but the key to beryllium is it has virtually no resonance, and it starts and stops producing sound, you know, 1.5 times faster than a titanium dome tweeter, and almost 3 times faster than an aluminum dome tweeter. So every material used in this speaker line is chosen for a reason, budget accordingly.
Well, and rightfully so. I mean, obviously, you're not going to expect the highest end features or materials, for that matter, when you're doing an entry level. But I think the takeaway is like what you said. Focal is completely involved with the design of all their line in the entire range, and the DNA is a constant throughout the entire range. So that's really interesting to know. And on that note, you know, you mentioned that yellow cone. For me, when I think of Focal, that yellow cone is iconic. So I hope they never do away with that. I think it's a signature look for Focal, and I know personally people who have bought it just because it was yellow. I hate to say that, but you know, it's because for them it was a symbol of status. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they started using the poly Kevlar cone in 1986, and it's been through a couple different reiterations since then. But yeah, this is the newest version out in 2016, and it's the same type of kind of technology that you'll see applied to the top 3 series made in France cones, right? We use essentially a monolithic material. So the Utopia M cone and the Kevlar cone, we use a Roacell foam sandwiched between kind of 2 layers of glass fiber on the K2P. It's a layer of aramid fiber. You know, Kevlar is a patented brand, but it is Kevlar. Essentially, it's DuPont. And the same thing down to Flax. Flax, same thing. Substrate material sandwiched between 2 things, and that's allowed us to get a much stronger cone by adding just minimal more mass, right?
Right. So power to weight ratio, if you know.
There you go. If you're a car guy, there you go. That's right.
All right. There. So, like I said at the top of the show, Focal has a big following. I mean, look at these comments that are coming in, guys. Keep the comments coming. We've got Justin Bond. If you're just tuning in with us for the CMA Connected, we're talking all Focal all day long today. Let's talk about some key benefits. You know, for those that are looking and interested in the lineup, maybe they were inspired by that audiophile episode to take a look at something like Focal. Why don't you pick a few key selling features from the entry level to the mid to the high?
Yeah. So I mean, when it comes down to the consumer side of things, the nice part about Focal is that no matter where you sit on the scale of your finances or your passion for music, whether you're just looking for an upgrade or you're going, you know, balls to the wall and, you know, you've decided you're going to invest and you want this type of sound, we have a solution essentially at all price points. You know, in the brand itself, there's 3 different tiers with 8 different product lines with over 64 speakers, not including our newest kind of endeavor, the Focal Inside line. So, I mean, we've pushed our Focal Inside line to be the upper echelon or the premium of an OEM driver replacement. This uses a black polyglass cone and an aluminum magnesium tweeter. Right.
I have a question before you continue. So what you're holding there is an OE replacement application.
For a Ford. Yeah, for a Ford. So
okay.
Right?
Okay. So is there only one grade in that range if you're looking at an OE replacement option?
From Focal, yes.
Okay.
At the moment, yes.
Okay.
At the moment, it's our Focal inside line, which is meant to be the not bottom of the barrel, the entry into premium OEM replacement. So extremely efficient speakers designed to work very well with your factory head unit or factory amplification, whatever's in the car. And then taking it further with that, we move to the inside line, which has OEM vehicle specific connectors, mounting, etc. So the other thing is it also gives you a little, with Focal inside, you get little kind of logos that you can attach to all the speaker grills inside the vehicle to really give your customer that feel of an upgraded stereo. It still looks factory, but it looks like it was factory with Focal, which is unbelievable. And then as you progress through the line, obviously,
will this help? So here I have this.
There we go. Yeah. So like I said, so many different speakers in different segments. Obviously, Elite is our K2 and our Utopia M, etc. The integration line consists of Focal inside and our universal speakers, which are literally designed to be the easiest to install and fit. And then from there, we have our performance series, all the way up from auditor to access, polyglass, flax. So there really isn't a reason to not get into a set of these speakers. And like I said, we carry the DNA. A Focal speaker at $159 is still a Focal speaker. That makes sense.
Very, very, absolutely, very cool. Do we on the topic of the OEM stuff?
Yes.
Are there a lot of applications available right now? Is that something that we're going to be seeing a lot more?
Yeah.
Growth
So
in
the inside line is growing significant. It's great. So right now we're doing over 30 brands and almost 600 vehicles.
600 vehicles.
Yeah, 600 models.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about so two things I heard. We're talking literally unscrew, screw, plug, like original Molexes.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's very interesting. So for those dealers that think you can't get a Focal higher end brand into a vehicle without doing custom whatever, this could be a good solution. So I really like that. It gives me an option.
Well, yeah, and like I said, it uses we have a series of speaker called the Polyglass speaker, which is also one of the most iconic Focal car audio speakers. It's been around forever. It's beautiful, and this uses literally the same technology. It's a polyglass cone, right? It's a new black polyglass cone, so it's much more prominent in the mid bass, a little bit more rigid, right? So definitely. And the same type of aluminum magnesium tweeters or aluminum tweeters that you'd find, right? So it really is a culmination of a bunch of the lines here put into the best possible vehicle application at a certain dollar value that you can get. And the nice thing about it is it's a noticeable difference. It is just swapping the speakers and saying, wow, that sounds great.
So the customer would, immediately recognize
100%
improvement in sound. Why don't you tell us maybe a couple of the popular models, because there seems to be interest in this here. What are some of the popular models that you're seeing dealers order?
Toyota has always been big for us. The Toyotas, they've redesigned the Toyota kit to come with a lot of the new brackets for the 2018 up Toyotas. We have Nissan, which was fairly new at the beginning of last year, and then in August. One of the nicest things for us in Canada is we have Ford now. So we have Ford 6x9 coax components.
6x9 Focal drop-ins.
Drop-ins, yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Component and coax, and the same thing with the 6.5 component coax. And then we've obviously made, we've always done BMW speakers in one way or another with the old plug-and-play line. So, we have Volkswagen, and now we have Focal inside, which was a redesign of the BMW speakers as well, right? So, there's 8 different speakers in that line for BMWs, whether it's a large bracket or small bracket 4-inch, whether it's a 2-ohm or a 4-ohm driver under the seats. They're really investing a lot of R&D and a lot of time into this market segment because, like I mentioned on the podcast when we were talking, or the webcast, sorry, when we were talking to the other guys, The labor dollars are nice and they're very important. But if you can manage to get the customer into a bit higher end gear with an easier install, it's going to work out both and both. You know, maybe you're not doing, 2 cars a day, you're doing 4 cars a day, right? With a little bit easier gear to install and a little bit more expensive than just the baseline, right? And better sound. At the end of the day, better sound.
There's Mr. Haberman coming to the plate with some more information. So Ford, Mazda, Toyota, Lexus, Nissan, VW, and of course, Bimmer for you guys.
Yeah, like I said, over 30 brands. I mean, Peugeot, Renault as well. I actually have Peugeot.
I don't know if that applies for us here, though. Do you think?
I got some in stock just in case, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Real quick, we're winding down on the segment here where we're really product-centric. I definitely want to spend some time talking about Focal Canada and all the advantages and benefits of being a dealer for you guys. But before we wind that down, there's some questions coming in here. I got Paul Bennett here with the question. What in the lineup is there available for 8-inch mid-bass? 8-inch mid-bass.
So in our Integration Universal series, we actually do make a product called the ISU 200, and it is an 8-inch separate system. So it is an 8-inch mid-bass driver and a tweeter.
I hope that answers your question, Paul. I don't think there's anybody here that could stump Justin. I challenge you. I dare you guys to try to stump Justin. I've tried. It doesn't work. But if you want, do it right now. I'll put up your question. Here we go.
Here we go.
Boy. Listen to this one. How about those GM Bose upgrades?
Yes. Like I said, all of our integration line is designed to fit quite well, but it is a 4-ohm speaker. So you are going to lose a bit of volume, a little power if you do an OEM kind of Bose upgrade, but you will. I mean, we all know if the impedance is a bit higher, you're going to get a bit better sound. So you will notice a quality difference. You may lose a bit of volume. But we also, in the universal line, because those Bose tweeters like to crack quite a bit after a while, we do offer, that's the only line where we offer a SKU in a separate set of tweeters. TWU 1.5s.
Wow, very cool. So one last thing before we move on. I just want everybody to know that Christopher Labonte dreams of Flax every night. That's number one. And
Flax is a beautiful speaker.
Here's the question. This is going to be a complicated one. Are you ready, Justin?
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know that one.
That's not even fair. I'm not going to post that again. Thank you for even entertaining that. All right. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, we can go deep on every series, from the Utopia all the way down, like you said. But
100%.
We're limited on time, and I think it's really important that we kind of transition to our next, I guess, segment of the show. And we want to learn about the benefits of becoming a Focal car audio dealer in Canada. So why don't you start us off first with explaining the scenario? Who is Focal Canada? What is the setup? Who's the distributor? All that stuff. All
right. So BB Distribution is the distributor for Focal in Canada. We own Focal Canada, so we are Focal Canada. Everything for us, this brand, we hold very dear to our heart, and we support in every possible way. It is definitely one of the key focuses of us. And I mean, we're always looking for partners. But when we value it, we definitely do take a lot of different things into mind. Focal is not a line that we just give to anyone. So we kind of go beyond. We evaluate the dealers. We make sure that in a partnership relationship, it's going to be best suited for us and best suited for them. Another thing with Focal when it comes to being the benefit of dealers, we do our best to police zero online sales. I mean, there are people that squeak through, but they're generally shut down as soon as possible. So we have no problem, talking about the product online, but we have a problem selling it online in Canada. We do that to protect the margins, to protect the brand. The other big thing about kind of Focal is we want to instill that brand confidence in all our dealers. When we sell Focal, it has a 1-year warranty, but when it is installed by an authorized Focal dealer, Focal Canada BB Distribution, we back that to 3 years for you.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So you said a couple of things I wanted to comment on. First and foremost, what I love about what I'm hearing is that you guys are basically a Canadian-based company controlling the interests and sales and after sales support of Focal brand. Did I get that right? That's fantastic. I think that makes a world of difference. The other thing that I heard is that you take the time to qualify your dealers in other words, qualify those that are representing you on the street sales level.
We have to.
And what about when it comes to territory? Is that something you take into consideration?
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Majority of our dealers are territory protected. We do only open up limited number of dealers in certain areas, and we try and keep it to the type of dealer, like I said, that will best fit the product, right? Not everyone is a Utopia M dealer. So we do strive to achieve.
Oh, so Utopia M is not for, just because you're a Focal dealer doesn't mean you can sell Utopia? Is that what you're saying?
So we generally give priority Utopia access to the people who have the Utopia M1 display. Those are going to be the key people. That all kind of comes down to auditioning our speakers as well, the way that we audition, etc. And through the years, when we talk about why to become a BB dealer, it also comes all around to the support network. We've done numerous expos in the past that have been, large events with dedicated Focal training, everything from, top-down selling to install to product to actual hands-on install fabrication training at BB distribution expos. In 2021, we're launching a full gear kind of on like that, dedicated to Focal trainings. We have a Canadian dealer Facebook group only to link all the Canadian Facebook Focal dealers together. Like I said, it is a protected brand, so it's not available to all BB distribution customers. So, for example, specials we launch privately with Focal dealers and only for Focal dealers. So we do whatever we can to set up this support network to help the dealer be successful, and in turn we're successful with that. And like I said, having the brand and investment that we do, the pride and the investment we do in this brand, it makes it really easy for us. We have reward systems in place with Focal that purchase, sell, and install, tag, social media campaigns, drives, everything that you can think of to keep that Focal dealer engaged and make sure that they're always kind of in front with knowledge and excitement. I mean, at the end of the day, and like, nobody needs $2,000 speakers in their car to live. Right?
This has nothing to do with need.
This is an industry that we sell emotion, right? Like I said on the podcast, we or the webcast, sorry, we sell that experience the customer gets when they get into the car and they turn the key on, and their smile goes from ear to ear. That's the most rewarding thing. And we sell the memories, and we sell the experiences that, take you back to the first time you heard a song, or first time you kissed someone, or whatever, these moments that ingrained in your life. And we sell emotion, and that's what we do. Well,
from a dealer perspective, I love it because the brand certainly exudes, passion and emotion. And now you're telling me that there is a structural network and support system in place through stuff, like you said, your expo. There's a couple of things, you have your tech support, obviously, right? A dealer portal, very important to have these days. You know what I mean? Business programs, obviously, because if I'm going to take a brand like this seriously, it feels like you have to take it seriously. This is not, let me be very clear. What you've shown me here today is Focal is a very serious car audio company and brand with a very serious culture and following. But if you want to do Focal justice and make money with it, you need to take charge and be very serious about your commitment to this, because I think it will pay off. The more, how can I say that? The more invested interest and more investment you put into it. And I'm not just talking, inventory. I'm talking a vested interest in promoting the brand and being part of that culture. The more you will get out of it. That's how I feel.
It is a brand built on pride, and it backs it up in every single way, which, it's nice for me because I wholeheartedly believe every single thing I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh, it shows, definitely.
Yeah, and it makes it really easy for me to speak on Focal, because I have nothing but confidence and faith in all the product.
I want to bring up a comment here from our boy down at Brian Reimer. Colin McAndrew says, the new portal is very useful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this portal. What do dealers get with this portal?
So, I mean, we've been a little bit behind on the online ordering. So the nice thing with the BB Distribution Rewards portal and our BB Distribution online portal system is, we force tests and upgrades and information for training to the dealers, also while rewarding them for their time and investment in time, make you better, make us better. And obviously live stock status, part lookup with cross-reference helps as well, right? So everything to kind of facilitate the whole A to Z prospect.
Now, you're talking about support for dealers. So, I'm buying in, all right, I qualify.
Mm-hmm.
We heard the other night that it's great to have soundboards, and we're going to talk about soundboards, but one of the key elements to selling higher end gear is a demo vehicle.
Yeah.
Is there any programs in place for dealers to build a demo vehicle?
100% there is. Absolutely. We actually just launched our annual Utopia M employee purchase. We don't do it often. Utopia M, when it first came out, it was hard enough to keep in stock. So it's not something that's...
It was hard enough to keep a $10,000 pair of loudspeakers for car audio in stock.
Last year was absolutely crazy for us. It was great. So this year we've opened it up to all the Focal dealers and given the chance to get them and their staff into Utopia M at a very, very, very reasonable cost.
Labonte says it sells itself, especially when I have potential clients sit in my RDX for a demo. Case in point. There you go. So, demo vehicles, super important, and it sounds like there's a very good program in place for
always. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it sells, right? We design our demo boards in a very specific way. And there's a specific way to sell with them, all which we do help teach and train. But it's a bit different aspect. And obviously having Focal in the car is always going to be the truest, number one, most, best representation of what it's going to sound like in this contained environment, right? Which, believe it or not, is completely different to how we demo. We don't talk about...
Well, on that note, let's talk about demos or additions or whatever term you want to use. Yeah. Now, you guys watching, you might have seen that we did this walkthrough with the guys over at Certified Radio. And in that walkthrough, in the showroom, in the centerpiece of the whole thing was that big Focal board. Why don't you talk to us a little bit of the Audition displays and stuff that you offer?
So our Audition displays are generally quite large and have a large number of speakers on them. All right.
That's a lot of speakers, Justin.
That's a lot of speakers. Yeah. And the reason we do the speakers like that is because we want to reiterate that there is Focal for every dollar value, right? For every price point. That's the guys at Vibe Car Audio and Red Deer. That's their display.
Is that actually Vibe?
Yep.
That's funny. I didn't even know that. I didn't realize that. That's cool. There you go, Labonte. I plugged you without even knowing. Keep going.
And when it comes down to doing an audition with, an audition with Focal, we're not talking about listen to how good our speakers sound. That's not the premise there. Like I said, could you go back and show that triangle picture of the hierarchy of the speakers? Yeah. Okay, so let me talk to you about like this. When we audition, that is a pyramid from obviously our elite to performance and integration. If you were to take that pyramid and flip it around and think of it not in dollar value or status, but think about it in the amount of information that each speaker is conveying to you, it would make sense as well, right? So we use our displays to show you the difference in the sound between two speakers. So you can identify what's being heard on a set of K2 powers as to what's being heard on a set of Flax or down to Access or Auditor. So every time we step down that line, right, you're taking a little bit of information away, because at the end of the day, this $169 speaker cannot do what this $1,700 speaker can, right? But it's not about listening to how good these speakers are going to sound. It's about listening to the amount of information that's being conveyed to you, the consumer, the audible information that you're going to get from the speaker. And then we do have places in Canada that do have a full Utopia M display, which is much more like a home audio segment. It's a listening room. It's a dedicated room, because me playing speakers to you in a 5,000 square foot showroom with telephones going on behind and some dude doing the sound
all glass and concrete and steel,
test. It's not going to do justice to any speaker, let alone ours. Right. So we use those boards very, very intuitively to show you the difference between the speaker. And then ultimately, obviously, you have a demo card, you have a seat that you can put a customer in, pre and post COVID, and you can be okay. And you can give them the real time experience. There was a comment that comes up, if you own it, you sell it. If you own Focal, you sell Focal.
Well, I'm going to stop you there, because I want to go back to the audience listening. I know we got shop owners and installers watching right now, so I'm going to throw the question back at these guys. I'm going to assume that a couple of them are Focal dealers, right? I look at that board and I'm thinking to myself, man, that's a big investment just in the board alone. How necessary is it for me to spend that kind of money to bring in a line? Understand, I'm just looking at both, the interest of the dealer. So my question is to the guys that did invest that money, the guys that are on there right now. Is it worth it? How important is it to have the entire lineup, in the showroom? So I'm going to let them breathe a little bit with that and see if we come back. But you can understand, right? Because this is not a typical speaker company where I'm buying 6 SKUs and thank you very much.
You betcha. And one thing about that is with BB Distribution, we do have 2 warehouses, so we're almost next day everywhere in Canada.
Oh,
so that
where's the location of your warehouses?
So we have one in Mississauga and we have one in Edmonton, Alberta.
So East Coast, Central Canada, and one for West Coast.
Yeah. So that helps kind of alleviate a lot of the pressure of stocking 27 speakers and 8 different lines. You know what I mean? And
well, we talked about the other night. Remember when the question came up, like, what do you need to have in inventory? More product or more knowledge?
Right. And it's a culmination of both. It really is, right? You can't sell product without product, and you can't sell product without knowledge.
But according to Jason Pawlowski, we sell Focal as soon as we take them to the display, unless they can't afford them. Fair enough. All right. Hold on. Mr. Haberman here. Jay Haberman, national sales guy for BB, just put up something. Look at this. Effective January 2nd, 2021, BB Distribution will offer a draw of a pair of Utopia WRC speakers for dealers that post and tag pictures of their Focal displays. Giddy up, boys and girls. A pair of Utopia speakers, all you got to do is tag their ish on social media. So check that out. I'm sure you can go to the BB's Facebook page, or you know what? Bombard Jay's inbox with that, just so you can manage that all day. All right? You can find him on Facebook. He loves it. All right. Here, another comment I want to bring. Nothing replaces the customer listening to the speakers. It's hard to sell it online or on a screen. This is a touchy-feely, need-to-hear situation. And I agree with you, Justin. You sell from the top. You go down. You show them what they're missing. And somewhere in that conversation, if they weren't sold on the brand, then all they have to pick is price point. And
it is nice. And the thing with Focal, especially for all you potential dealers out there, is there is a story behind this. There is a story behind this brand. There is continuous passion. There is continuous love. There's that hunt for the perfect sound, right? And it's pushing and pushing and pushing the limits of kind of what's going on. They've been doing car audio since 1989 was the launch of the car audio department with Focal. So they've been around a long time. They just did their 40th year anniversary in 2019 as a company. There's a lot of backing behind this, and there's a lot of experience and a lot of honesty, which is really exciting about it. And, as far as stocking goes, I mean, I know I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to spend dollars on a speaker like this, I want to leave with the box.
Oh, yes.
Right? I want to pick it up. I want to touch it. I want to hold it. I want to see the black box, synonymous with high end, right? American Express.
Hey, some of the best companies, consumer products, are award-winning box designers.
100%.
Let's remember that. Yes.
And I want to feel, the diamond engraved front, the laser etched basket, the red standout piece on the Neo motor. It all makes sense, right? When I hold this, it's beautiful from the front. It's beautiful from the back. So no matter how you hold the speaker, right, it emulates what it is, which is the best in the business.
Perfect. We're winding down here, Justin. We only got a few minutes left. What do you got going on? Offers. Sell me. I'm in. What's going on right now that I can get involved in? Or maybe I'm a dealer. What do you have going on?
So like I said, we do have special offers going on the Canada Facebook page for Focal dealers. But there are a lot of dealers that are not Focal dealers. So we're actually going to drop 3 specials today just to kind of play off the audiophile webcast that we did a couple days ago. And, like you said, we talked about stuff being essential as an audiophile. It is a full A to Z situation. It's not just the speakers. It is not just amplifiers. It's not just the install or the cables. So we're going to launch 3 specials. We're going to do an amplifier special. And I believe we're running them till the end of the month, which is great. We're going to do an amplifier special. We're going to do an install accessories, wires style special, interconnects with wires and EFX. And then we're also going to do a premium sound deadening material special as well. Right. So those are available to all dealers that are partners with BB Distribution right now.
And valuable BB points. Right? BB points.
Yes. So every one of those specials, like I said, we help motivate. There's always been this stigma where the sales guy gets all the rewards, right? And with our buy, sell, install stuff, the installers can claim points and claim rewards.
Oh, that's nice. A little bit of spit for the back end. I like that.
Time ever, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So you guys watching, we just went over, I know we went quickly over those, but we're going to make sure we post those in our dealer group and in our installer group on Facebook. If you're watching us and you're not following us on Facebook, get on that train, Canadian Mobile Audio. DM us, message us if you're an installer. We have a special private group for installers only, and we have another private group just set up for either shop owners or shop managers. So if you're not in there already, the big advantage is we put these deals in there for your eyes only. Justin,
thank
you.
What
can I say, man? That has been a wicked ride. You and I both know we can go another hour easy if we really want to dissect the technologies and the different features, but I think what we managed to accomplish in this one is to really get a nice overview of what Focal means, especially here in Canada, and what dealers can expect if they want to become a dealer. So thank you for bringing that information. Any closing words?
Yeah, if there are dealers that are out there and they're interested in Focal and they're on the fence on is the display right for me? Is the brand right for me? We are always accepting applications for dealers to kind of be predominant on the inside line. So, that's a great place to start, right? You're not getting your hands too dirty with install and setup. It's more the OEM drop and replacement. So, we're always taking inquiries into that line for sure as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Justin, this is obviously only one in a series of videos that you and I will be sharing the screen on. Of course, you're the Focal guru here up north, but also product manager and trainer for all the brands that BB Distribution carries. And we're definitely going to, have other opportunities to dive into those as well. But for now, Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you again so much for having me. It was an honor.
All right. So there you have it, folks. Justin Bond representing Focal Canada BB Distribution. A couple of great deals. Like I mentioned, make sure you get into our private groups, both our dealer groups as well as our installer groups on Facebook. Hit us up on that. For all other info, check out our website, CanadianMobileAudio.com. Guys, we are winding down the holiday season. We're definitely going to be going off air, take a little bit of break before we come back strong in 2021 with lots and lots of content that I'm really looking forward to being a part of. Hey, if you have any questions, hit me up, hit us up, CanadianMobileAudio.com. That's it for now. Thank you, Focal. Thank you, BB Distribution. Thank you, Justin Bond. I'm your host, Ben Wu for CMA Connected. Until next time, we connect.